Few things make the impact on our psyches and our imagination than great tragedies. Years later, we remember where we were and what we were doing. Americans in the 20th century remember the Great Crash, Pearl Harbor, the Kennedy assassination, and the Challenger explosion. In our time, the terror attacks of September 11, 2001, remain burned in our psyches. To make sense of that awful day, we need to understand what we lost that day. In that spirit, the New York Times published brief portraits of all of the known victims of the 9/11 attacks. The portraits of grief do not summarize people's lives, but instead find some intimate details that reveal something special about them. Take a look at a small sample of these portraits. Diane Bullis Snyder used to post life lessons on her children's doors. Jan Majewski was always running. He would run from his main job as a waiter at Windows on the World to catch the subway to his other job as a computer consultant. John Gamboa offered his spot to a young woman who was crying and anxious to flee when they were going down crowded elevators. Maria Jakubiak was shaken by a ride in a plunging out-of-control elevator. Afterwards, she took a few days off, but wanted to return to work anyway. John Lazowski tethered a self-propelling mower to a cinder block. John Lazowski was a minor inventor. He tethered a self-propelling mower to a cinder block so that he could lie back and sunbathe and let the lawnmower do its work. These portraits, appearing day after day in the New York Times, captured qualities that more complete portraits might miss. They focused on the details that surprise and touch people's emotions. They had a major impact on people's understanding of 9/11 and what we lost that awful day. Years later, in 2020, the U.S. faced a different catastrophe, the coronavirus pandemic. During that pandemic, the New York Times marked the 100,000th American to die by printing the names of a sample of those victims with just a few words about each. By so doing, they found details that mattered to memorialize another awful tragedy. These details say something unique and universal about the souls who perished during this awful period. In the brief portraits of 2001 and 2020, the New York Times followed William Blake's exhortation to see the world in a grain of sand. Your job is to find those grains of sand, those small telling details, to deploy in your writing.